Hi, I'm Dave from Dave's Sticky Pig in Madisonville. But I was going to talk to you a little bit about cooking good barbecue, because we do old style barbecue cooked with hickory and oak. Got to get these big old gloves on. There's several different kinds of hickory. I like this kind best. It's like the scaly bark hickory. We use some big wood, but I don't like to cook with the bark. So I've got some smaller pieces here. These are called slabs. And we like those because bark gives a bitter taste to smoke, so I try to get the bark off. This is our smoker. It was built by hand. It's custom made for us. It's been around for years. See, we got a lot of oak in there already cooking, and hickory. I'll put this big piece of hickory on here. Kind of gets heavy after a while. Now, these slabs burn a lot faster. They burn hotter. One thing I really like is you can tell you're cooking with wood. You can hear the sparks. If you come out here at night, you see the sparks come out. But one thing about it, it takes a long time to cook. We just started our pork shoulders there. They're going to cook for about 16 hours. We're going to go inside now and prep up some ribs. This is Brian. He knows a lot about ribs and cooking barbecue. We've worked together for a long time. We use a St. Louis style rib. That these particular brand comes from Swift. The St. Louis is a spare rib that has all the fat and gristle cut off. That we think it's by far the best rib. A lot of people like baby back ribs, but you get a much better quality, I think, with the St. Louis than the baby back. Okay, ribs come with a silver skin on the outside of them, and there's probably a better name than that, but that's what I've called it for years. And it's a little hard to get off, but it's well worth your time to peel that silver skin off. That you try to go down underneath between the bone and the meat to separate that skin, and then sometimes you can grab it with your fingers and pull it off, and sometimes you need a paper towel. But if you don't peel that off as it cooks, it comes out tasteless, the silver skin, and it's almost like chewing a piece of rubber. It has no flavor to it whatsoever. He did a nice job pulling all that off at once. Now you can see that the meat right there and all the seasoning and the smoke will go straight into the meat. We're going to sprinkle this rub. We use about 12 or 14 different spices. We use a New Mexico chili powder that we order. We use a Spanish paprika that's just a sweet paprika. If you get too much rub, it'll come out being salt and extra strong, or you can just use just a little bit and just rub it in, and it absorbs some of the moisture. It's one of the things salt does is concentrate the flavor. It takes some of the moisture out. Now you can buy all kinds of rubs in the store, or you can make your own. If you're just getting started in barbecuing, I would always buy something first. Try that, see what you think of it, and you can always go back and make your own. Sometimes it's just a matter of taste, what kind of rub you like. Now we've got these ribs that have been cooking for about 4 hours. So you got a nice color, kind of a mahogany brown color. You can still see the seasoning and the rub we put on there. And then after we got that skin off the back, you can see that where it's taken a lot of the flavor and the smoke into the skin. What we'd like to do now is sweat this rib. We're going to wrap it in saran wrap or plastic wrap, put it back on the smoker for a little while, and let it soften up. That way you get to that fall off the bone tenderness. Okay, so I've got my butter blend here, and I can actually massage it in. Had to go to a massage school to learn how to give these massages to ribs, but now there is no secret to barbecue. It just takes a little time and a little practice. And more than anything, you have to love the job. You have to love the food. It takes much too long to ever think that you're going to get rich opening up a barbecue restaurant, but you're going to make a lot of friends, you're going to enjoy the food, and you're going to learn a lot. Because every time you cook, you do something with a piece of meat that makes it better than anybody else produces, and you're proud of it. Can't say that if you open a box or open a can and pour it out into a crock pot and say, here it is, it's done. Okay, so we've got our rib butter on it. We've got it all wrapped up nice, coated nice. That's gonna, as it soaks in, it's gonna make it nice and juicy. So I'm gonna fold my plastic wrap over it. Now, once upon a time, and most people think that that plastic wrap will burn, but it really doesn't. As long as you keep it below 300 degrees, and of course we smoke a lot cooler than that, the plastic won't melt. We find it's much better than foil. It holds the juice in better, and it makes for a nice product. We can leave it in the product or in the plastic wrap until it's ready to serve. Now, we'll take these back outside, put them back on the smoker. They'll sit out there and sweat with this butter on it for about 2 hours, and it'll come to a fall off the bone tenderness. That's the way the customers like them, and that's the way we're going to serve them. Okay, now we've got these ribs ready to go back on the smoker. You can tell we cook with wood because that's nice, honest wood smoke there. Got these ribs. Again, it's the St. Louis style because we think they're best. Wrapped in plastic with our rib butter. I'm going to put them meat side down so that the juices settle in the bottom, and we're going to cook it all the way through. They're going to sit on the smoker in the smoke and the plastic for about 2 hours. They'll be juicy and tender and just ready to fall off the bone when you eat it. Okay, we've had a customer order a rack of ribs. So we're going to take a rack of these St. Louis style ribs that we just got through cooking. Still got the plastic wrap on it, and you can see that it's not melted. Let's tear this plastic off. You can see how juicy and moist they are. Kept all the moisture inside of them. None of it dripped out. Nothing goes to waste. All that's flavor. Yeah, you can see the juices. That's some of our rib butter, but mostly that's good. Most of it is absorbed in. We like to cut it with a cleaver. If you have to thaw it, it's much too tough. You've done something wrong with your ribs. I like to cut it bone side up so I can see the bones, see the curve. I just fit right in between each one of them. You can see all the juices as it comes out as I cut this. And all I have to do to cut it is go straight down. It doesn't even have to be pushed through. And then as it sets, it gets more and more tender. And one thing I like to look when I'm doing ribs is you can see the smoke ring. If you can see where you got the little pinkness, that doesn't mean it's not cooked all the way. That's the smoke. That's the wood flavor that's got into that meat. There's the perfect doneness right where it attaches to the rib, and you got the smoke ring on top, and then you got the layer of rub and seasoning on top of that. Now we like to use an agave nectar. Agave is from the cactus plant that tequila comes from. It's like a raw sugar. It's sweetness without being as sweet, and it's all natural. We put a little bit of that on there, just enough to coat it to give you that kiss of sweetness. Now we're going to sprinkle it with the rib seasoning that we use. It's a bar shaker. It's filled with our rib seasoning that we use on the raw ribs. That as you finish it, we want to have the sweetness from the agave, then we want to have a little bit of the rib seasoning to get a little bit of bite and flavor to it. We're just going to sprinkle lightly on top of this. Just enough to see that it gets a little extra flavor. You want to be able to taste the sweetness of the seasoning, the bite of the seasoning, the smoke flavor, and then the real taste of pork. Baked beans is one of our most popular side items. We put a lot of meat in the baked beans. They stay on the smoker for about 12 hours. That might be our secret for good baked beans, is that they are wood smoked. There's no liquid smoke here at all. Potato salad we do with a little fresh dill, pickles and onions. We have all of these 5 handcrafted barbecue sauces. Nice rib rack. You won't go home hungry if you have this for dinner tonight. Once I heard that you could always tell a real barbecue restaurant by the size of the wood pile. Mine's a little low right now because I usually like to keep a lot of wood. This is probably about a week and a half, 2 week supply. That when you don't cook with gas, you use a lot of wood. We use hickory and oak, mostly hickory, probably about 90% hickory. I like these nice logs. I like the slabs we use. It takes a lot of wood to do barbecue right. And we're at Dave's Sticky Pig Smokehouse Barbecue in Madisonville. We have a drive-through window. We do dine-in. We're open 7 days a week. We do catering. There's no order too large for us, and we also deliver for large orders. And you're watching us today on Hometown TV from Madisonville.